For cheap D2R items, visit aoeah.com. You get 3% off with the code ARIAT. Check the link in the description. Hello and welcome to my new Wind Doodoo guide. We will look at 3 different builds here: budget, magic find and endgame/PvP. Let's get started right away. Looking at the stat points, we will need enough strength for the gear. For farming, the remaining points can be put into vitality. For PvP, you'll also need to increase dexterity for the block rate. Although this costs a lot of life points, it is much more stable for duels. The skill tree is very simple. Cyclone Armor, Twister, Tornado and Hurricane are maximized, and for the summons, we give 1 point each in Ravens, Wolves and the Bear. I've put the remaining points into the Oak Sage, but you could also add the Carrion Vine with 1 point. All in all, the skill tree looks like this. Briefly about the breakpoints. For the cast rate, we should keep 68, 99 and 163 in mind. That's the range we should be working in. We don't really have to worry about hit recovery in PvE, we'll get 55% from the Spirit Shield. For PvP, however, it can be worthwhile to reach the 99%. Remember, using one-handed swinging weapons like Heart of the Oak, the Druid has different breakpoints. Let's move on to the equipment. I recommend the Aldor set as a very cheap option. This gives a total of +4 on elemental skills, lots of resistances and also many open sockets that we can use. I have tier runes in my weapon and helmet, so I get 10 mana per kill. Like this, we don't urgently need an Insight Mercenary. We also take Spirit and Mage Fist, as well as 2 rings with faster cast rate, so we reach the breakpoint at 68%. In addition, a Thunder Gods is nice for more lightning resistance and absorb, and I have a Saracen chance for stats and resists. If you have an amulet with skills, you could also use it. However, especially for the beginning at lower levels, I like the extra attribute points from the Saracen chance and the Aldor set pieces. This way you easily get enough strength for the Monarch, so you can skill more life. With an empty inventory, we already have very good resistances and the damage is sufficient for the first. Now the magic find setup. Here we want to play on the 99% FCR breakpoint. So we take Hoto, Spirit, Arachnid Mesh and an FCR ring. Enigma is important for teleporting of course and brings a good chunk of magic find bonus with it. Further we also put on a Harlequin crest, War Traveler and Chance Guards. Like this we are already at 250% magic find without the inventory, which is more than enough. The missing slots are filled with a Maras and a Jordan, for more skills and resistances. For even more MF bonus, you could also add some magic find jewelry instead. This build also uses CTA and Spirit in the chain chant and has Torch Nanny. The inventory is then filled up with skillers and magic find charms according to taste. Here you can see the stats with Maras and SOJ without any MF in the inventory. With the blue jewelry, plus Geats, plus 10 small charms, you could get another plus 200% magic find bonus easily, but with the loss of 4 skill points. Depending on how the inventory is filled, 250 to 600 magic find are possible in the end, and 4000 to 6000 tornado damage, but nobody will go farming with a full inventory. Finally the high-end version. The difference between PvP and PvE is just in the dexterity for the block rate. Here we play on the fastest FCR breakpoint, so we need at least 163% faster cast rate. So we also put on Mage Fists here, an FCR ring, Arachnid Mesh, Hoto and Spirit. In addition, we now have to play a 220 circlet, ideally with 2 sockets so we can gain some damage reduction from bear runes, and also a Druid amulet with cast rate. If the Spirit Shield is rolled max, 18% FCR is enough here. While you would take War Travelers for farming, I recommend Shadow Dancers for PvP, because they give you 30% faster hit recovery. Together with Spirit, you are already at 85%, so the 99% are quickly reached by a few charms. The Shadow Dancers also give you up to 25 dexterity, which means you need to put less points for maximum block rate and get more life points instead. So for the PvP build, 25 dexterity is just as good as 25 vitality. In the free ring slot, we put a Stone of Jordan, and of course we always prefer to have skillers with life on them. Apart from that, charms with resistances are practical. As soon as we have full resists, I like charms with mana and life, or magic find for farming. With the high-end setup we get about 6500 tornado damage at fastest cast rate and full resistances. To crack the 7000 damage, you could also play a tornado helmet with plus 5 or 6 on the skill, but then you also lose an FCR breakpoint. By the way, the Mercenary gets a Reaper's stall, so when casting the Creepify, we can also defeat physically immune monsters much faster. Since Reapers also has massive life leech, the Mercenary can use Cure and 40. You shouldn't have any mana problems, otherwise the Runeward Insight will of course help. With the low budget variant I intentionally show you that it also works fine without the Merc, so as long as you don't have any good items for him, you can simply save the reviving costs. The gameplay is basically very caster typical. For pre-buffing, activate the shouts, cast animals and spirit, and shout again for buffing the summons. Thanks to those, the Druid himself does not become the target of enemy attacks that quickly. In many PvP formats, however, there is a restriction for the pets, so you have to decide between the bear or a type of wolves. Otherwise, it becomes unfair. The Wind Dodo also deals cold damage with his hurricane, but the majority is physical and comes from the tornadoes. Similar to the Hammerdin, he hits enemies best when they are right in front of him. The greater the distance, the longer it takes for the projectiles to arrive, and they may even miss. After all, the trajectory is not straight. So in PvP, it is best to teleport directly at the enemies and shower them with tornadoes. Even melee fighters can be defeated in most cases, as the pets make it difficult for them to focus on the Druid. Of course, you should still be aware of a good smiter, but ultimately, the Druid can also work at some distance to the opponent, trying to pull him into the tornadoes. For PvP newcomers, this Druid is also quite beginner friendly. You don't change weapons or skills during battle. The only additional thing is to recast the pets in between. Of course, the best way to do that is outside the battle. The Tornado Druid can basically take on any opponent, so in my opinion, it's definitely an S tier PvP build. Unfortunately, it is not an S tier farming build. His performance in Player's 8 is too weak in comparison. He can't compete with Javisons or Mosaic Assassins by far. Nevertheless, the high-end build gets by on Player's 8, and at lower number of players, the kill speed is of course better. For pure PvE, however, the Fire Druid with his high area damage is much better in my opinion, but it is less suitable for PvP. To further improve the popularity of druids, I guess it would make sense to allow casting teleport in wolf and bear form as well. Despite the cool new Metamorphosis helmet, only few people play a shapeshifter druid. The lack of mobility is certainly a significant factor. I wish you a nice weekend, take care, and may the loot be with you.
follow me. Come on. Thank you. Bye.